I tell you, first creation of the god King Enki, Adam, in your fictional book you all call the Bible. But none of that happened the way you think it did. It was way more complicated. So, what I'm going to talk about today is leadership, what it is to be a king. Many of you are going to find what I am going to share now rather pretentious, and you may well feel however you wish toward it. I don't particularly care, as it was my kind who taught the ancient kings and great warriors of old. It is I who will now teach you what it is to be a king. The same lesson that was taught to countless others across countless ages to protect community, civilization, and the future of all humanity. When a man becomes a king, or a woman becomes a queen, the first thing that happens is they become the poorest person in their country, or their land, or their world. They now become the poorest. The reason for this is because everything they were, everything they own, every tool, every skill, every beat of their heart, every thought within their mind is now to be directed toward the future of those who they lead. This is what it is to be a king. You own nothing. You wear fine clothes and you have physical grace and you walk with perfection, always, so that you are the aspect that all aspire to be more like. You never covet wealth, because wealth over knowledge corrupts. If you are corrupted, you cannot be a king. If you seek wealth, you cannot be a king. Monetary wealth is the opposite to knowledge and wisdom. For thinking these things are value takes value away from your role as a guide and a leader to your people. All that matters to a king is his people's flesh, their health, their steps, and their ability to take them forward. This is what your will and your mind and your skills, your tools, your successes, your victories, everything you are is directed toward your people continuing, for their lives to be more balanced, be easier, be fruitful, be positive, and have a stable future. You give up everything you are, every chance you have to have fun. You are now separated from everyone. Yes, you might sing with them. Yes, you might play along with them, but you can never again be apart, because you must be above. You are not a person, you are a king. A king is a title. A king is an identity. It is a role that a person must become. You no longer hold your name. Even your personality, your wants, your desires for yourself become void, secondary to the desires and wants of your people. They are all that matter. You do not matter. How you feel about things specifically does not matter. It is how your decisions and your steps within your role is what will define you in the minds of your people. Standing in front of everybody, lying to them, sharing deceit and deception is to attempt control. A leader does not need to control his people. A leader leads his people. He guides them. And if a leader, a king, is doing that, is doing his role, then everyone is going to see his leadership, is going to want to follow the commands of this leader, because it is trusted that each of these commands are made in the benefit of his people. And this is why all commands within you must be for the benefit and continuation of your people. Because if ever you are called on anything by another leader, or by the people themselves, you must be uncorruptible. You must have no corruption from the moment you take your role as king, because before you became a king, it doesn't matter what you were. You could be a beggar, you could be a peasant, you could be a thief, a murderer, you could be the richest man in the world, you could be a scientist or a doctor or a teacher or a child, an old man, an old woman. It does not matter what you are when you take the role of king or queen, because the moment that role is taken, that is all you are. Everything you were before disappears. That is only a preparation for what you now must be. And until the very moment that role is stripped from you, or you die, you are never free of it. That is what it is to be a king. It is to sacrifice your entire life to your role. Everything. Everything you are and everything you will ever be is king, queen. A woman can be a king. Queen's a silly thing. I find the word queen derogatory. I believe a woman can be a king. The term king simply means highest leader. It doesn't need to be a man. It just needs to be the best for the role of leader, be it man or woman. Because there are men whose compassion and understanding of growth and people's needs who fit the role of king perfectly. But there are also women whose love and genuine desire to balance their environment and the hearts and minds of their people make her worthy to be king. But the moment this role is taken, all your money goes away. Everything you ever were goes away. You never have a dollar to your name. You eat the best food, so you're always healthy and have the best physical form. You wear the finest clothes so that everyone sees the finest representation of them, and you are now something to aspire to be more like. You work every day to be the best version of yourself in your role so that your people have something to aspire to be. If you lie, then you're going to have people aspiring to be a liar. If you cheat, if you deceive, if you make promises that you cannot uphold, why would anyone trust you? The very moment one of your decisions is proven that you never meant it, then how could anyone ever trust another decision you make? You have just given up your role as king. For these leaders in the world to sit on any kind of wealth over anyone else is ridiculous and insulting to the people. Yes, there should be a house for the king that represents the best of architecture, the best of comfort, and the best of what everyone else should want more for themselves. But it's not a place you live. The king does not sit on a throne. A king rules from where the ruling needs to take place. You never stop. You sleep because you're tired. Your mind needs rest so that you can make good, rational decisions. You don't rest because you're lazy or because you get a chance to. A holiday, a weekend at the golf, a little weekend getaway with the missus. That is not what a leader does. That is not the role of a king. Every day for the rest of your life is for the people. And sure, if you need recreation, if you need some kind of release so that you can continue to function adequately within your role as king, then choose something that does not impact anybody else. You don't go buying a big ass boat because there's people starving in the world and that boat could have fed a whole bunch of them. You're obviously not going to go to the golf course because that's what pretentious, rich a-holes who take from others do. So you're not going to be associating with people who harm others. You specifically exist for the betterment of everybody. You don't get a holiday from that. There isn't a break. There isn't golf. There isn't big boats, there isn't yachts, there isn't giant mansions and champagne and gold-plated doors. Those things are for people who wish to show off to others. A king does not need to prove that he is the best because he has been chosen as king. It is now his role every day to prove he deserves that role, or she. Every day, prove you deserve that role. Every day, every moment. Walk as if you have a camera on you 24/7. Sleep as if you have a camera on you. Eat as if you have a camera on you. Walk with perfection always. Never let your gaze drift. Never let it drift. Focus on your goal. That is what it is to be a king. I want to ask all of you now, my children, for any who may watch this, how many kings are there in our world right now? How many deserve their role of leadership? Only the deserving should lead. Only those worthy of leadership should lead. Only those who stand at the highest with the most strength, the greatest knowledge and resolve toward the betterment of everybody should ever lead. I ask you, how many kings exist on our world today? As far as I can tell, there is one. Just one. And let me make something very clear about an actual king as the absolute last job they ever want. No king wants to be a king. The king is the shittiest job in the whole country. The worst, because of what it means to be a king. You should give up everything. You don't exist anymore. You can't go and have fun. You can't go and play. You can't go and do anything. Because every single breath, beat of your heart, every thought, everything, it is inescapable. It's an obsession. It has to be, or you aren't worthy of the role. You literally cannot deviate from your role as leader, as king. If your mind shifts, if you start to drift, if you can be corrupted, then you should not be in charge. The king does not want to be a king, man. Not at all. It is a horrible job. The worst. The worst job on the whole planet is to be the leader of it. The absolute worst. No one wants it. And anyone worthy of it, that is at the absolute bottom of the list of things they want to be doing. Because it's restrictive. It doesn't allow growth. It means everything must be directed toward everybody else's growth. You have nothing of yourself anymore. You become this symbol, this freaking thing that has to do a role. You become a tool. You become your people's servant. You're a slave to the needs of everybody else. That is what it is to be a king. So anyone who wants to be a king is not a king. The only ones worthy are the ones who truly understand what it means to be a king and absolutely do not want to be. Because it sucks. Being responsible for everybody sucks. Being responsible for everybody's mistakes sucks. Being asked why bits of you are blowing up the planet is difficult to explain. Hands up who would like to explain the sins of every human for the last 10,000 years. You don't get to make excuses. It is on you why that happened. Would you raise your hand and take responsibility for that? Because you know somebody has to. Anyone? Would anyone raise your hand right in front of something that could wipe us out of existence and go, yeah, right, I'll take responsibility. I can explain it. And I can give reasons of why we should be saved. Genuine, actual, thought out reasons based on based on knowledge of universal existence and the full history of evolution. You have to know what you are talking about to be taken seriously. And I want to know if anyone would be willing to take responsibility for this disaster over the last 10,000 years. Any single human on earth would take responsibility for everything. every mistake you're making and explain how it can be undone. That's what it means to be king. To understand there is this insane, impossible role that needs to be filled, who you would rub a freaking genie's lamp and wish for someone else to be capable of taking from you. Anyone to be capable of taking. Or even sharing. Full conscious self-awareness sucks. Being a king sucks. And the mess you have made to my world sucks. And you know what sucks the most? When the time comes, I have to try and explain all of this freaking insanity. Not fun. But anyway, if you're a leader and you manage to watch this without showing any views on YouTube, which is kind of my goal because I don't want money or views or likes or anything. I don't give a damn about that. I just want you all to learn some stuff. Have a good day.